Hey, welcome everybody, and thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining us on the Psychic Liz Cross channel. Liz, if people don't know, they can also get free healing on your Patreon, or they can go to the Consciousness Transformation Technique. We just had a great meditation this morning. How are you been?
Oh, great. Thank you. Yes, the backup channel is the CTT channel. Be there, be square. Seriously.
So
I
be
mean,
there. You
it's
can click
we
on this link here,
yeah.
or you can just go over here to the Consciousness Transformation Technique page and listen to those. And it doesn't matter which one you listen to because your unconscious mind is going to tell you to listen to the right one. So make sure you can go through those and maybe just spend like, a day or one day a week trying to benefit from the CTT that Liz and I do. And also, we appreciate everybody that supports Mr. Reality on his Buy Bacon, Lettuce, and Tomato Sandwich page. So thank you for that. Liz, today I thought we could do something fun, which has been in the news recently. Um, Fort Knox, President Trump and co-president Elon are threatening to go into Fort Knox and demand to tell where the gold is. So I wondered if you could maybe do a probe on what's really there.
You're so funny. Co-President Elon.
That's what they
You're
say on the media.
hilarious.
So co-president.
Yeah, let's do it.
So who I don't know, we can take a couple of people. We grab like the entity of Fort Knox, or should we grab like the Fort Knox himself, or what do you want to do for this?
Let's grab the entity of Fort Knox.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know, the entity is in Kentucky and it's a military base. There's some other things around on that military base, but it's a storehouse for the gold reserves of the United States. And no one's really been audited there. Or, they say we've had audits, but what does Fort Knox feel in its presence? What is its makeup as a entity?
As an entity, how do you feel? It feels very powerful, very important, very powerful, untouchable.
Does it have a sense of strength?
Oh, yeah. It feels, well, money is power, right? So even having a lot of money in that energy field is feels very powerful.
And is it concerned about the potential for audit, or does it have really human emotions like that?
Are you concerned about the potential audit? It's already being audited.
It's already being audited. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people involved with Fort Knox, and I mean, it's a big military installation. Where was that there? The The Fort Knox commanding general, I believe, is just announced. This is General Johnny K. Davis. And I wonder if we can bring in Johnny K. Davis and ask him about what his role is at Fort Knox.
What is your role at Fort Knox? Well, to keep everything safe, to run it in an orderly fashion, to make sure no one's stealing, cracking the codes, coming in via helicopter, jumping in and stealing stuff. Yeah, I mean, he's a busy man.
Is he aware of the assets that are currently at Fort Knox, or is he really involved with the military applications surrounding the base?
Are you aware of the money or the monetary value at Fort Knox? I mean, he's aware. What is that your priority? It's an extreme priority. Extreme. What about the military? That too. That too. But I mean, if anything happens to, listen, people have been trying to still get into Fort Knox for decades, and they haven't been able to do it. And that is the main role up there, is to protect all of that wealth.
And so the current commander, John K. Davis, is he involved with just the protection aspect, or is he involved with the operations of the base, the operations of the museums on base, the schools on base, the training that happens on base, or is he mostly focused on protection?
Are you mostly focused on protection? I mean, yes. What about all the other stuff? The schools, I mean, those are divided out into divisions. He's the overseer, but there's other, like they have someone that looks out for the schools. They have someone that looks out for like the criminal activity on the base, the welfare of the soldiers, the welfare of the families, things like that.
Does he
So,
have
I mean, those are delegated roles.
does he have free reign of the base? Can he go anywhere he wants to, or is he there are limitations and where he can go?
Are there limitations? Oh, everything's limited. Yes, there are limitations. And if you're doing anything with regards to the storage area, you have to go like there has to be several people. You have to have reasons to access it. It has to be logged. There's cameras everywhere. You have to have people and accountability.
Okay, so the security is tight. Are there any artificial intelligences that are protecting the assets of the vault, or does he feel that they're maybe antiquated, that are the security measures now? We're not going to get into too much of the security measures because I don't want this video to be a security risk, but does he feel they could be better?
Do you feel that the security could be better around there? No, he doesn't. He feels it's the best that it could be. Is there AI or anything? I mean, they do have some sort of AI in place. I feel like that's more around the cameras. Do you have any robots patrolling? No.
Are there any agencies or individuals that the general is aware of with unfettered, unrestricted access to the gold vaults?
Agencies or individuals that have unfettered access to the gold vaults. No, everybody has to be accounted for and accounted. There's signage. Really, it's very difficult.
Are there any underground tunnels or emergency escape routes or that dive deep into underground at Fort Knox?
Are there any underground tunnels? Yes, there's an underground tunnel there. Yes.
Hmm. There was a couple of security breaches previously before your tenure, and what steps is he doing or taking to make sure that there are no more security issues there on base?
What steps are you taking to make sure there are no more security issues on base? Well, the first thing he says is everybody's got to be vetted to the highest security clearance levels. That is really, really important. Psychological evaluations, who they know, those that are working closely in contact with the vaults. Is it just one? No, there's more than one vault there. It's not just one vault. Um, and you have to make sure, because if they're associated with criminals or they have criminals in their family, well, they've got insider info, right? They could create an inside job. So that is why everyone has to be vetted to the highest possible standards, including their families as well. Um, what else is there? I mean, it's just you can't get in there. It's really, really hard.
So I wanted to ask President Trump, what is his goal in going through and trying to audit or understand what's at Fort Knox? What is his real motivation?
What is your real motivation for going into Fort Knox? Because he thinks that some of it's missing.
And what is his goal in order to be transparent? Is he going to try and hide that or take it for himself, as some people in the media will tell you?
Are you going to try to take it for yourself? No, but he wants it on the balance sheet. He's trying to balance the books. He wants it on the balance sheet. You need to know what we have in order to figure out how to balance this economy. He really is trying. What he says to me is he's trying to do away with this debt clock, this debt that we have. I don't think let's ask the founding fathers. Will he ever be able to get rid of the debt? No.
He's trying to make it more transparent. What is his motivation, or what makes him theorize that their assets might be misreported at Fort Knox?
Do you think that the assets have been misreported? He said, you know what? Nobody really knows what is there. Audits are slow. He says they're few, very few. We don't know what's coming, what's going. We don't know the current value. We don't even know if what they say is in there is still in there, according to his personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions.
What does he feel this will do to the price of gold to reveal the true book value of Fort Knox?
What do you feel this will do to the price of gold? Well, it'll make gold more popular again, and he believes that the price of gold will go up.
This is not investment advice, by the way.
No, obviously.
Yeah. I wonder if we could bring in Henry Paulson, who was, where was he? He was one of the chairs, and he might know. He's a former Treasury Secretary. Now Janet Yellen's the Treasury Secretary, I think. But Henry Paulson, if he was aware or ever got into Fort Knox and what he might know about it.
Did you ever get into Fort Knox? I mean, I feel like he's been there a few times. Do you know exactly what is being held in there? No, nobody seems to know the exact amount. That's the problem.
Did he try and was he blocked?
Did you try to know the exact amount? Yes, but the administration did not what? The administration did not what? Really, because audits are very expensive. And audits of this magnitude are even more expensive. You have to uh, have people watching. You have to, it's just a big mess. It's not easy to do. And the funding for that wasn't there.
What about Janet Yellen? What does she think? Has she ever been inside the Fort Knox?
Have you ever been inside Fort Knox? She has. And what did you think? Well, she really liked it. Did you actually see the gold reserves? She has had a look at it briefly, briefly. Look, okay. Have you ever seen Mr. Reality gold bars like
Oh,
a
I know all
plenty?
about tungsten-filled gold bars. Yes.
So when I was a dispatcher, right? Somebody had stolen a big load of gold bars, right? And they had recovered them, and it was a Sunday night. And of course, everything's closed. So the gold bars, the loot ended up in our custody. And I was good friends with the custody sergeant. And I said, "Can I come down there and see the gold bars?" And I did, and it was the weirdest thing. Like he opened the door, and of course everybody's there. It was millions of pounds worth of gold bars. Okay,
Pounds or dollars in America,
as
by the way.
in currency, right? But I mean, I didn't realize how heavy they were. And the glare, the glow, when you see the cartoons and you see like the glow when they sketch it into the cartoons, the glow of the gold bars, it really does look like that. It's like blinding almost when you have them stacked up. There's loads of them. When you have them stacked up, it is blinding. That glare, it's surreal. It's so bizarre. I've never seen anything like that ever. And I just stood there in amazement because the glare was hurting my eyes. And I'd never seen that amount of money before. And certainly never seen gold bars like that, big, heavy gold bars. Anyway, so the reason I'm telling you this is because when Janet Yellen was showing me, she was giving me a visual, she experienced the same thing. Like it hurts your eyes to look at it for a long time.
Well, I could be I don't mind looking at that much gold. This is General Knox, who Fort Knox is named after, Henry Knox, back in Revolutionary War hero. And I wonder if we could bring in Major General Henry Knox and ask him what he thinks about being named the most sacred gold storage in the United States.
He feels like it's a big honor and a privilege. You do? Absolutely, he does. He feels memorialized. Now, when people say Fort Knox on the earth plane, do you get like, does a bell ring in spirit? And he's laughing at me, and I'm saying, why are you laughing? When we say somebody's name down here on the earth plane, does the person that, or the soul that played the part of that person while they were here, do they hear a bell ringing? He said no.
No one tells me nothing. Uh, is he aware? Does he ever look inside Fort Knox and see what's there?
Do you ever look inside Fort Knox and see what's there? Oh, yes, he loves to have a walk through there. Yes.
All right. So I wanted to see from Henry Knox himself, have there been gold bars that have been replaced with counterfeit or tungsten filled bars in reserve at Fort Knox?
Have there been gold bars that have been taken from Fort Knox? No. Have there been replacements like fake bars, a swap out that has taken place? No.
Have there ever been any bars that have been allocated for foreign governments that were not accounted for?
Were there ever been gold bars allocated to foreign government? Oh, all the time.
And so are
All the
those bars
time.
taken out of inventory and what happens to them? Are they just not counted anymore? Or how do they account for the
The,
reduction in bars?
how do they account for the reduction in bars? It's on an accounting sheet. So they have pulled gold bars from for, oh yeah, yeah, they have.
And so is the accounting of how many bars there accurate, or is it a misrepresentation of how many bars are truly there?
Is the accounting of the bars there, is it accurate? No, no, it's not accurate. And is it a misrepresentation? Is it more or less than what they thought? Is it more or less? Oh, it's less. It's less. And this is I don't know how long this stuff has been stored there. Do you have any idea? Because I feel like it's been stored there for quite some time.
Fort Knox, I think, came around and well, Fort Knox would know, but um, I can't remember.
Well, I'm getting that it's been there quite some time. So this have other presidents, can presidents say that they can use the gold bars? in-
1936 is when they transformed it to Fort Knox.
Oh, thank you. Can the presidents just say that they can use the gold bars? No, it's the Treasury.
Is there
So
ever, I'm asking Fort Knox or Henry Knox, is there, how often are the bars replenished or how often is a new supply given either from the Treasury or another agency to Fort Knox?
how often is the supply of gold replenished? Is it frequent? No, it's very infrequent. Um, so the ones that have been used, have they been replenished? No.
What does Henry Knox feel will be the result of this audit of Fort Knox?
They're gonna come up with, wondering where some of this stuff went. Because I feel a lot of the bookkeeping at one time was on paper. And as they were putting that bookkeeping into a computer-based system, a lot of that information got lost.
Is there any tracking like an RFID or a signature, isotope signature on the bars to figure out where they go?
Are there trackings? Do we have signatures or tracking on the bars? Some of them, yes. And can we, if we find that signature, would we ultimately trace it back to the US Fort Knox? Yes, yes. But I feel like some of these bars are locked away. And where are they? I feel like they're in Africa.
What percentage of these bars have been taken and who can track back that shipment or removal
What
to the African
percentage
continent?
of these bars have been taken? Oh, it's only very small percentage overall. And can they track the shipment? No, no. Did we give that? I feel like sometimes these gold bars are given as gifts as well.
By whom? To whom?
By whom? By the US government? To whom? To world, countries, African leaders. I get that. Why? Was there some given back to? I feel like they've been presented as gifts just like a symbol of what I don't know why I'm getting Africa. Why Africa? I feel like we owe a debt there. It's almost like symbolic. Was a lot of the mining from Africa? I feel like there was a lot of mining from that area. It was kind of symbolic.
What leader in America gave these gold bars symbolically to, and do we know which African continent and where they've gone?
Well, the which African country?
Yeah.
Um, which African country? Is it Zambia? No. Zimbabwe.
So this is, I just learned this with all of you. Ventress Gibson's the current director of the U.S. Mint, a position she's held since June 2022, the first African American to serve as director of the Mint, the seventh woman to hold this role. Was she aware or of did these things happen under her tenure or a long time back?
Did these things giving gold bars as gifts that happened under your tenure? No, 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 no. This was going way back. No, this was going back to like the 70s.
Has Miss Gibson been aware of any misaccounting errors in the U.S. Mint or in Fort Knox?
You been made aware of any accounting errors or anything like that? And no, no.
Is she well aware of what's happening there, or is
Are
she? What does
you,
she think about President Trump and co-president Musk's decision to audit Fort Knox?
what do you think about the Trump audit of Fort Knox? She doesn't like it. Why? Because it's a lot of pressure. It's very stressful when you're being audited. Um, they're scared of Musk. Are you scared? Yeah, she's terrified. She's terrified of Musk.
Why?
Why are you terrified of him? Because he's got ways and means of counting things very quickly. And this is using sophisticated, complex computer systems that they don't have access to.
Well,
And
that's
there's
what an audit is. You don't have access to the computer systems. Did they
right, but
think that
there's
Musk will be? Why are they concerned about the audit? Are they afraid of what it will reveal?
are you afraid? Yes, they're very afraid, and she's afraid for her job, but also she's saying to me they don't necessarily trust the computing system that he's using.
Well, I'm sure you would understand it, and I'm sure you would make a better accounting system if the accounting system that you have doesn't really have transparency. And I think that's really what it's all about. But what does Elon Musk think that he will find when he moves into or when he unleashes his Doge boys on the office of Fort Knox?
What do you think that
Boys and girls, by the way. I think there are Doge female and male members.
what do you think about what do you think they'll find? Well, they're liable to find anything, she says. I mean, that's what she's scared of. There could be things that they find that she has no idea about, and she's supposed to know, being the head. And it doesn't look good if they get questioned about particular things and they don't even know about them. This, whatever it is that they're using to go through, it's fast.
Is the accounting system that Mr. Elon is going to develop to audit Fort Knox accountable? Will it be accurate or will there be inaccuracies in his accounting audit?
Will there be inaccuracies? There's going to be inaccuracies in his accounting audit. But you see, the problem with Musk is, and what Knox is telling me, not the entity, but the person, is that he's too quick to publicize inaccuracies. He's too quick to publicize information. I know he's telling me he understands he wants to be transparent, but it looks bad because it's the shock factor. Instead of going back and doing a recount and another recount and trying to find this information and then releasing the discrepancies or the inaccuracies or whatever it is that's missing. But unfortunately, he gets it's almost like he gets a bit of a high. Just, oh, I've got information and I'm going to release it, and he will release it. So let's ask Trump, does he release information? Does Elon Musk release information without asking you? All the time. All the time, he says, does that bother you? He's been told about that.
So there's an assessment here that this is from one site, the estimated $425 billion in gold at Fort Knox, roughly. And what does, well, let's ask Henry Knox how much of that is true. What percentage will they really find there in the first audit or in the third audit? How off will the third audit be?
Oh, will the third audit be? It will be very, very close. And how much did you find? And what was the number? 400?
It says here over one of these sites, 400 billion.
Is it higher or lower than 400 billion? I think it's sitting around that number.
Well, could
It
be because the
actually
price of
could
gold
be.
goes up, but
Yeah, I was just about to tell you that. That I feel like it should be a lot more, but it's sitting around that number. So
it
when did
says
they do the
29.40
last?
now, roughly. So by the end of this audit, what does Henry Knox think the price of gold could be up to per ounce?
What do you think the price of gold could be up to per ounce by the end of this audit? $4,000.
This is not
It
financial
could.
advice, but
It's possible. It's very possible. That's his estimate. Does that mean it's going to be accurate? Don't forget, spirits, they don't care about the price of money and all that because they don't have to worry about it. They're in the spirit world.
is Henry Knox incarnated now?
No.
No. Is he incarnated since Henry Knox, or is he just up there sitting with the founders, hanging out, drinking a beer?
Uh, have you reincarnated since? One time. One time, yes. I feel, and I feel like he was killed in the First World War.
Is he sitting around with the other founding fathers? Are they aware of what's happening now in the federal government in this audit of the gold reserves?
Do you sit around with the other founding fathers? I mean, from time to time, and do they all know what's going on with these gold reserves in the audit? I mean, yeah, and what do they think about it? They're not really attached to it anymore.
Who's the biggest jerk of the founding fathers, according to Henry Knox?
Oh no. Who is the most difficult personality according to the founding fathers? Who was that? Was it Washington? No, Adams. I feel like, is it Quincy Adams or Adams? Adams.
Are there any connections to the World Bank and the U.S. gold reserves?
Oh, are there any connections to the World Bank and the US gold reserves? No.
Have any of our gold reserves been given to the World Bank or to the Vatican Bank?
Have any of our gold reserves been given to the World Bank? I mean, we do have gold reserves stored all over the place. And what about the Vatican? Does the Vatican hold some storage for us? Yeah, I do believe the Vatican holds some storage for us.
Some of our gold? I mean, not ours, but the U.S. gold.
Some of the US gold. Does it hold some of our US gold, like the gold bars? Or yes, I do feel it is. And some of it is being held in the Vatican. Yes.
I wanted to ask another person here, George Patton. Oh, George Patton's museum is inside Fort Knox and General Patton. He's, a military commander. I want him to go forth and tell us what's really in Fort Knox. And is it a true assessment of what's there, or are they hiding something from us? Thank you, General Patton.
General Patton. Do you think they'll find what's truly or what they say is there? No, he says they'll find something missing.
I wanted to ask General Patton, what else besides gold is housed in Fort Knox? Is it jewelry? Is it financial documents? Is it great secrets? Is it artifacts? Ark of the Covenant? What else is there?
Definitely. What else is held in Fort Knox? I feel there's silver held there. There's also some precious gems that are held there, jewelry. A little bit of jewelry, yes.
Who
Um,
whose jewelry is hanging out at Fort Knox? I mean, why am I paying the military to guard someone's jewelry? Who's that?
Whose jewelry is hanging out? Well, see, when the US receives gifts from other countries and things like that, right? And I feel that there was a gift of what is it? Is it a crown? No, some sort of very expensive, rare necklace. So those types of gifts have to be held there too.
Hmm. Is Patton aware of any underground tunnels in the base and any evidence of subterfuge, people trying to go in, take money out of the reserves and move them through underground tunnels connected to it?
Hmm. That underground tunnel, where does it come out? Does it come out on the base? No. No, that underground tunnel goes outside of the base. So if they need to move things quickly, they can get out, without being noticed. So say that there was a war, okay? And as wars
Oh
go,
no, there's not a war, by the way. Don't be concerned. But
right,
if there
but
were,
just
he's saying,
if there was a war, say we were losing, the base got stormed, now they're going to try, because that's what, wars do. That's what people at war do. They pillage and they steal. They often go into leaders' homes and steal and where all this stuff is being held. So if there was a war and the base was stormed and we were invaded and something had taken over another country or another force had taken over, on the back end they're going to be taking the reserves out as fast as possible and getting them out. There is a tunnel, an emergency exit for all this stuff, yes. And if Liz Cross channel goes down and into oblivion and you just get a black screen after you listen to this video, you'll know why. Because I'm obviously giving out information here.
so I wanted to ask Patton if there's been any of these gold reserves that have been given as collateral to fund off-world projects or extra exopolitics projects. There's been some talk about that, and he was actually instrumental in his lifetime talking about the war between ETs, I think.
Um, has any of this been sent into outer space? No. Has any of this been promised to you know, beings from outer space? No, no, but do you think that the beings from outer space are interested in it? No. Let me ask Bashar. Bashar, are beings from outer space, aliens, are they interested in the gold reserves? No, they're not interested in that. What are they going to do with it? They can't spend it.
Well, they can make devices with it. It's used in technology as well.
Can
Uh,
you make devices with it? It's used in tech. No, because if they want to make a device, they just, these beings are they can manifest whatever they want, right? They have that power. They just basically just think of it, beam it out of their third eye or whatever. Not that they have a third eye, but beam it out of their etheric body and
can
create
Bashar
whatever they
beam
want.
some of that gold to Liz Cross and Mr. Reality's house now?
Yeah.
And he right over there. If he could just, I'm looking right there and then I'm, how long will that take for him to put the bars right there?
How long would it take? Can you etherically beam some bars into my my office here or into Mr. Reality's office, he's laughing at us, but that's a really good thing. Now, would I
Not from
want
Fort Knox. I want space bars. I
right?
want untrackable, not tungsten filled, gold space bars right there. How long will that take for delivery?
I could immediately. But do you want to do a deal with the dark? See, that's the issue, right? That's how people sell their
I
soul.
mean, it
You
depends
remember
on how many
Robert?
bars we're talking here. I might be willing to negotiation, but was Patton murdered? There's explanations, and people say that he was intentionally hit when he was on the base and then suffered in a military hospital. Does he feel he was murdered?
Do you feel you were murdered? He was killed, yes.
Has he come back to provide revenge on that person who was responsible for hitting him?
Do you have a contract with that person? I feel it's like four people. I feel there's four people involved. And do you have yeah, this is tit for tat. Yes.
Why does he feel that happened?
Why do you feel that happened? Because he knew too much. He knew too much. He has a lot of information. They wanted information from him. He refused to talk about it, refused to give up secrets. There was a lot of espionage going on back then. Yeah,
Does
he
he think we're
refused.
currently in a war with extraterrestrials?
Do you think we're currently in a war with extraterrestrials? No, they're in a war with us. We're not in a war with them. Do you think that we are currently in a war with the Ukraine? No. Do you think we're currently in a war with Russia? No. Do you think we're currently in a war with China? A trade war? Yes. Do you think we're currently in an AI war? Oh, yeah, that's happening all over. But mostly the AI wars are between companies, not countries.
Does Patton feel that we're on a track for maybe another, I don't want to say war, but who's our greatest potential to get into a war with, and will that happen? And what's the time frame for it?
Hmm. Who's our greatest potential to get into a war with? Iran. And what's the time frame? I mean, I feel it's way out. Are Iran working on a nuclear program? Oh, absolutely. They've got an underground nuclear program going on. Now, they're not going to flex their muscles until this nuclear program is complete. And they know it works. It's been tried and tested. They know it can do a lot of damage. Then they're going to come out and start to challenge us.
What does he think about President Trump's proclamation that he'd like to start drawing down the nuclear weapon arsenal with China and Russia?
What do you think about the declaration to scale down or scale back the nuclear with? He thinks it's a big mistake. Why? Because of these underground things that are going on. Uh, these countries and North Korea. See, now he's just said North Korea to me. They've got a massive nuclear program. I'm saying, but I thought North Korea was broke. Now, when it comes to missiles and nuclear artillery and things like that, no. And Iran is doing the same thing, yes. And are these things underground? Mostly they've got this stuff going on underground.
What is our capacity for, let's say, geosynchronous orbit arsenals versus underground missile arsenals? And I mean, it feels like we've grown beyond missiles at this point. So what can we do now militarily to combat these threats like Iran and North Korea's missile?
What else can we do to combat these threats? Well, you got to disable their power, their structures, right? Their water, their food, their electricity, everything, their capabilities. If you know how to take those things out, that you're in a much better position because it becomes more difficult for them to spring into action. But I'm saying surely they've got like backup generators. Yes, they do. They have power plants that facilitate these underground things. And in those underground as well, yes, mostly they are. And is it coal? No. Is it hydro? I mean solar and hydro. So they have their own underground power systems that are powering these nuclear experiments and nuclear building.
I wonder if we can take President Donald Trump and move him out towards the end of his term, let's say 2029. What is the greatest surprise that he found from entering into and auditing Fort Knox?
It's the greatest surprise that he found entering into an audit of Fort Knox. How long did it take? It's going to take a long time. Okay. Even though that lady is scared of Musk and his computer and everything going very quickly, this is going to take a count and a recount and a count again, right? Multiple recounts,
Yes.
multiple logging, documenting. You know how they have the prints on the bars that they're going to have to log all that. It's going to be a total, recataloging of the system. So what was the biggest surprise that you found? How little? What? How was the biggest surprise that you found with the audit of Fort Knox? How little there was there. He would have thought, so he's saying to me, he would have thought that there would have been a lot more there and we would have kept that secret and not let on how much was actually there. Maybe we had some hidden reserves that nobody knew about, but that's not true.
And so I just wanted to ask, is he going to implement any additional accounting measures in his term going forward so that it will be maybe easier to audit and easier to track anything that is not there?
Any additional measures in accounting in return? I mean, it's all about using AI systems, using newer, greater technology, he says, and they've got to get up to this level. They're still doing a lot of stuff by hand throughout the government. It's still
Well,
pen
look at the
and paper.
limestone caves where they take people's resignation or retirement paperwork. It's insane.
Oh, right. Yeah. What do you think about the limestone caves? He was shocked by that. Did you know about it? No. He did not know about it. And it was really shocking to see that it was such a, as he put it, antiquated system. What do you guys, and I'm going to group he and Elon together. What do you guys think about people turning on you? Well, let's just ask Elon because, Trump doesn't care. We already know that answer. What do you think about people turning on you, Elon, for doing this accounting process? He thinks it's very crazy. Why do you think it's crazy? Because he's trying to do a service, he says, and help the American people and help people around the world. And also, he's like, I hope we have a knock-on effect so that other populations hold their governments accountable and want to create audits within their government and stop wasteful spending. And I'm like, okay, but what do you actually think about the fact that you're becoming very hated? Well, it is what it is, he says.
Does he have any plans for space mining or mining asteroids to more gold?
Do you have any plans for space mining? Oh, he would love to do space mining. And what about like storing these gold bars on another planet? Oh, he would love that. Like he gets excited when we ask that question. He wants to be able to do that. He would love to store gold there.
I don't think that's a hard sell. But is he is he excited about the potential for the audit and what is he, I guess we can move him out 4 years as well to the end of the term. What is his most glaring surprise that he have found when auditing Fort Knox?
What was your most glaring surprise when auditing Fort Knox? A lack of accountability.
All right. Elon Musk, President Trump, Henry Knox, founding fathers, General Patton, each of you out there listening, Liz Cross and I thank you very much for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you again next time.
Oh, yes, we do. If the channel's not taken down, make
And
sure
I'll
you're
tell you, I won't tell
subscribed.
you if Bashar comes through or not. If you don't hear from me, you know, maybe it did. But I'm waiting. Bashar, it's not here yet. Can you
Yeah,
Subscribe
if
him
we
from
don't
that.
hear from Mr. Reality, he got his delivery from Bashar. That's so funny. That is really funny. But yeah, this is why you guys need to be subscribed to the backup channel. Seriously. If we go down on this channel, we're going to be popping right back up on that backup channel. So very important. Make sure you're subscribed. Thanks so much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Not here yet.